pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Please. Campbell. Here. Seitz. Absent. Lunshine. Here. Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Kuchera.
Here.
And Wilking. Here.
Brief public input. Seeing none. Approval of the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict of interest? Anything that's on the agenda tonight? None. Presentation and special report. Ventura County Commissioners Report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our February 5th meeting last week, we received a report from the drain commissioner on the Castro drain. And he told us that he has terminated the employment of Spicer Group, who's the engineering firm from downstate that's been working on that drain. It's currently just over $900,000 is what's been billed to that drain district. The drain district hasn't had to pay anything yet, but it's been invoiced to that drain district. The only shovel in the ground has been 3 hours with a backhoe. And and I was there with Steve when he did that. It actually opened up the drain, the Castro drain, the one that's been in there for years. So everything has been dry along the road to this point, even through those hard rains we had last summer and fall, and even the December rains that we had were frozen. So he's looking for a local engineering firm to complete the job with. I asked him to, if he would consider walking away from the road project, which is part of that, part of his plan. I would like to think he would, but I don't think he will. That road project and everything involved, I wouldn't be surprised if it would be $6.5 million or more. And the people in that drain district are going to pay for, if they pay for 70% of it, it's more than what they should have to pay for. But they will. So I've been, I guess, an advocate for those folks in Blair Township to not be saddled with a 30-year assessment on their taxes.
Have they been speaking out?
No. They don't, I don't think they, I don't think they know. I think they don't know what the impact's gonna be. It's, you know, probably like a lot of the other mail you get, you know, they couldn't believe that they'll be saddled with the cost of it because they live up on the Gray Hill. So I think that'll be the next step, is to see if I can convince Chuck Horn to get some flyers out so that the people are aware of it. There's a business on Cass Road that's it's a cold storage building. Garfield Township apparently allowed them to not have to make stormwater provisions because they are, and I provided a video at the board last Wednesday that didn't come across very well on the TV screen because I didn't realize that the people videoing just video the TV. I thought maybe they had a link to it, but with large rains, water comes from that site, goes into the ditch and into Miller Creek. I asked the drain commissioner if there's condoned by the conservation district, who he works for. Absolutely not, but nonetheless, that's what goes on. The plan is that when this elaborate drain goes in on Cass Road and the road gets improved, they'll put a storm sewer in. And that storm sewer would serve for stormwater. But again, that's not just like this township. You take care of your stormwater prior to, you don't, it's not, county ditches are not for stormwater, they're for road water. But regardless, I just wanted to give you a little update on that. So, and when I updated you before, I just said, be careful of drain districts, You skated by one once before in 2015. Keep it that way, just my advice. We had a report from our administrator regarding the airport governance, whether to allow it to become an authority. And there was 15 questions that he gave pros and cons for. If you want to go online and look at our meeting, I mean, it was informative. I personally look at it that Grand Traverse County owns 85% of the liability. To say that we own it, I mean, you would tend to think that there'd be money coming back to the county for having the airport, but all you get is a liability if something went wrong. So Leelanau County has 15% liability. I don't think any of us would want to be involved in a business where you have liability but no chance for profit. And if it does become an authority, we will have the opportunity to make sure that we have voting members from the board represented on that board.
On the authority board?
Yes.
If it were to go to an authority, does that relinquish the 85% liability on the
Yes.
county? It
Yes.
does. So the
Completely.
authority is...
Completely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I didn't realize that we held that kind of liability there, but. So, yeah, I'll stay in touch regarding that. And I'm sure Brad will when he's here also. I wasn't able to make it to the pavilions meeting, the DHHS meeting, but I did make it a point to listen to it online, who, by the way, those meetings are paid for by an individual who has a mother at that facility, and she wanted to see that they were videoed and put online, so she's been paying for that. She pays $9,000 a month for her mother to be there also. and she FOIA'd some information that they should have just provided her a year ago and paid $90 for that. So I'm going to make it a point to keep going to those meetings and see if I can help her get her money back and see if they'll continue to video the meetings so that people can see them. But there are only 3 board members on the DHHS board that, for oversight on that, on the pavilions. At that meeting, they had issued $11,500 to management staff for bonuses. Corey Hansen, the director, above that $11,500, is receiving $9,250 in bonuses. Corey's salary is over $206,000. The people that are receiving bonuses, their salary ranges from $90,000 to $135,000. In that same meeting, they spoke of the occupancy level of their rooms that they have filled. It's 85%. They're not trying to fill, they're not taking any more residents because they're understaffed right now. They have 74 job openings, not all just nursing, I'm sure, but nonetheless, they have 74 job openings. I suggested at a meeting prior to that if you have beds that are open that should be filled and you have jobs that need to be filled, that should reflect on management, not on the people working, taking care of the residents and such. And they still went into closed session and felt the need to provide bonuses. So
That's a huge
I'm going to
project.
stay there and help Andy, who's the lady has her mother there. And it's her and her sister, and they're there every day taking care of their mother. So,
And paying $9,000 a month.
and pay $9,000.
Why is she paying $9,000? What?
That's what private pay is there. And so to explain it, if you ever hear the pavilions, they will post where they have provided so many hundreds of thousands of dollars in indigent care. That would be the difference between if Medicare or Medicaid or waivers pay $3,500 and you have somebody in there for that. The difference between the $9,000 and the $3,500 is their indigent care. They post that as that's the service they're providing. Now, any other private nursing home doesn't get paid. They get, I think, 5 or 10% less on Medicare and Medicaid than what, from the state, than what a government-run health care collects. So they get paid more, but a private pay, you do with what the state gives you, and you don't get an opportunity to flash out there that you have provided service for the indigent. So anyway,
Hey, Ron, do you know the percentage of Grand Traverse residents that reside in the pavilions?
I did at one time, and it was, I'm going to say, when I requested that 2 or 3 years ago, it was, and it's a guess, it was 45%.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty low.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
and it's like a lot of the services that the county provides, even the conservation district, the people that are employed at the conservation district go to Benzie County, Leelanau, Antrim. They get paid from that county for services, but we're the county that supports the staff to be here all the time. So, that's right.
Couple questions. One, well, I know how it goes. I got my 91-year-old aunt and put her in a nursing home. Of course, check the pavilion. Those are too costly. I checked the one on Munson, too costly. Check the one in Appy, too costly. Check the one Oak Creek and all that stuff is too costly. We did find one, okay? I know there's different prices, okay? And you look at the services and keep up with it, and I make it a point to go see her every day to make sure things are taken care of, okay? Luckily, I'm retired, so I can do that, okay? And she's been like a second mother. Now, this pavilion that's been kicking around for many years, county commissioner kicking that around, some were talking about it before when I was on Grand Traverse County Commission on Aging, okay? We had a special millage. Didn't the pavilion have a special millage?
Yes, 15-year millage. that-
Yeah, the millage is really not, it's like a commission on aging, really, the money doesn't come out of the, Grand Traverse coffers, but it's because it's got the special millage.
Well, it comes from the taxpayer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's out of the.
Well, it's because they voted it in. It's not a tax, but they voted in because they wanted it. Because the
Correct.
special millage, the taxpayer voted in because they wanted it.
Correct.
Yes. And isn't the pavilion similar to that?
That is what, that is how the.
It is, okay. It's not coming off the general fund.
No, there's no general.
Not off the general fund, like other services, that would be like the county, all that, okay.
And it was a 15-year millage that the voters approved and paid for.
Because you
to
do
build and
know,
furnish.
you do know, because I know you're in the business too, when it comes to the senior care, okay?
Right.
You and your brother, so yeah.
And the, there's no building cost there because we all put it there, and there's no taxes being paid because we put it there. And it's just, so it's there, so be it. But I think that the staff should be more accountable. They're the highest paid county employees that we have. I think probably,
It's ridiculous.
I don't think the prosecutor's office has salaries that high.
No, not even close.
But anyway, that's my report. It's something to think about.
Thank you.
And I'll report back. Any other questions?
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Community police officer.
Good evening, Matt Trustee, Grand Traverse Sheriff's Office, Blair Township Community Police Report, January 2020. It says 19 on that. Anyways, personal stats: 4 arrests, 4 citations, 54 complaints, 5 traffic crashes, 9 warrants attained for individuals. January larcenies, took several larcenies in the township in January, mostly from Menards and Family Fare, like usual. However, we did have a handgun stolen from South Creek subdivision. Don't know where that went. Another subject rented a very expensive ladder from Menards, never returned it. I tracked him down all the way in Arkansas where he lived. Don't ask me how all this came together, but, and then I emailed every email his wife had, every email he had, every cell phone number I texted that he and his wife had, and they finally responded, and he said, okay, I'll bring it back. And he took it back to a store in Indiana. So I didn't ask any questions, we just got it back. In front of the post office on January 19th, there was two people, a couple fighting, like literally fist fighting in the park area, right in the street. And a neighbor called, and I went there, and they were still wrestling around when I got there. And eventually, they obviously stopped. But the prosecutor's office did issue a warrant for a female. She lives in Blair Township. Blair EMS, once in a while I say something about Blair EMS because I think they're pretty great. In January, I went up to an AFC home off of River Road, which I didn't even know we had. I've never been there. And there was an elderly man there that had dementia, and he was really having a bad day and throwing things and pretty wild. And I arrived there and he didn't like me. So, you know, I've had those circumstances where it turned into a fight, which obviously I don't want. But then I realized who was working and who was coming there to help me, and it was Amy Wiggins. And I thought to myself, I told my partner, I said, hold on, let's just leave this guy alone. Amy Wiggins is coming, and she will walk this guy right into that ambulance. You watch. And she did. She talked to him, and he was like, and Amy went, and he literally closed his eyes and went to sleep in the car immediately. So, and I said, that's exactly how I thought that would go. So she has a really good way of talking to people, and it helped me out. So that was great. And also in January, a guy drove into a snowbank in Grand Shell. He had a lot to drink that day, and they sent Blair EMS over there, and then I arrived. And then he was really having a bad day, and he wouldn't get out of the car, and so we had to wrestle with him a little bit, and I was fighting with him. And then I tried to get my handcuffs, but somebody's hand was already back there getting my handcuffs for me, and it was Dan Benson. He was behind me getting my handcuffs off for me, gave them to me so I could handcuff the guy. So it was pretty nice, kind of fun that they help out. And I think they do a great job, so I wanted to mention those two things.
They think you do a great job too.
Yes.
I know you've been on a couple cardiac arrest assists with them last month in January, and they're very appreciative. And they speak very highly of you as well. Not always, but most of the time.
All right, thank you.
No Andy tonight? Treasurer's report.
Okay, we have in the general fund, $3,294,180. In the fire and police fund, we have $743,546. In the ambulance fund, we have $688,262. In the Metro Act fund, we have $65,082. In the liquor law enforcement fund, we have $25,226. In the sewer fund, we have $1,710,909. In the water fund, we have $1,733,856. In the current tax collection, we have $34,692. In the payroll clearing, we have $879. And in the milfoil fund, we have $9,044 for a total of $8,305,675.
Any questions for Tracy? Announcements and correspondence. I stuck
I saw.
copies of everything in there. I guess the biggest one is the asset management plan. Lisa and I are meeting with John Holland from Rural Water. He's the gentleman that helped us with the first asset management plan, and that was the first asset management plan that was ever done in the township. Well, we failed. So it's not that we failed, we just have to include some additional information. And again, it was the first time the township has ever done it. And we have the information that's required. So we're meeting with him on February 27th.
There's a lot to.
There is a lot to it. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't just meet with him once. We met with him for weeks, gathering data and statistics, information, looking at the capital improvement plan, which is what then brought to light our capital improvement plan that didn't have a lot of thought put into it. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not panicked. I know that we have the information, it's just putting it all together, and Jamie Wade from DEQ was very specific on the areas that need more information. I put in the floodplain map. We noticed that, when did we do that, last year?
Last year or the year before, I can't remember.
To update it, and again, this is through FEMA, and the map that they had given us
Old.
wasn't updated. And we're like, wait a minute, but we still had to sign off on it. So they're finally coming around to update, which will include the areas where they've removed the dam. And Wendy has reviewed the map with me. And then the census information came up, I gave it to Wendy, we went over it, sent that.
That was the boundary.
That was the boundary, yep, making sure that the boundary was correct. Told you last month we're gonna have the Easter egg hunt
Yes.
at the ballpark.
That's great.
Eric gave me something last night at the Mayfield Township Board meeting. Jimmy Carroll, fire chief, he always attended Mayfield board meetings. And the Mayfield Township Board, the Mayfield people just loved Jimmy. And Jimmy has a special chair and a place that he always sat. We talked about wanting to mark that chair and where Jimmy sat, and finally last night, I'll just pass this around. They had a plaque made up that says, in memory of Chief James Jim Carroll, 3/17/66, 8/24/17, and put it on his chair. Eric goes to all of Mayfield's board meetings. Last night was an exception, he missed it. I said, well, this is why. Because Eric wouldn't have handled that, he would have been balling. Super sweet.
Yep.
Oh, the safety networking meeting is going to be hosted here. We have a budget hearing meeting that day, so I won't be attending that meeting, but Matt Jerome has gone with me, so he's now part of the official group. And Mary Lako just wanted to host it here. It's usually held in East Bay, and she said, I'd like to kind of rotate. And did I put this, did everybody get this, board member basics? Just an annual refresher. Jeez, I did good. I think that's all I have for correspondence. Oh, what am I forgetting? Oh, Mark. Oh, yes. Somebody took that. There's a benefit basketball game for baby Gabriella, who is Dan and Rochelle Kreff's infant daughter who just received her new heart. Successful heart transplant. Eric, somebody took off with it. One of the guys. Yeah, they probably did. It's going to be Blair Township Emergency Services versus Leland Township Emergency Services. Dan used to work at Leland also. It's a benefit basketball game going to be held at the Traverse City West Junior High, March 21st.
7 o'clock. They're working on election 50/50 after. Basically, pay for the expenses because they're going to be making truck back and forth to you and all that, so.
Yep. And oh, here it is. Yeah. Gabriella was born with a congenital heart defect. She has been in the hospital since the day she was born. And just last Friday, she's 2 months old, they received the call. So she got her heart, and between 8 to 10 hours of open heart transplant on a 2-month-old baby. We'll post this. Tracy, can you keep that? Maybe we can post it on our Facebook page and our website. Anything else?
Is there gonna be a cost to get in or anything?
Donation?
I would imagine, maybe donation. Fundraiser, so.
I would guess it would be a donation. I mean, yeah. 50-50 raffle, halftime contest, ooh, silent auction, fun for the whole family. Doors open at 6:30, game starts at 7.
When was that again?
When?
Yep.
March 21st. We'll post it, Cooch. Does anybody else have any announcements, correspondence? No, okay. We have a guest tonight. We're gonna slide Marty Alvarez, is that correct?
That's right, Marty Alvarez. Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you, Madam Supervisor and the Township Board. Our community partnership specialist, Dave Springsteen, was actually supposed to be here to speak to all of you about the census and the actual process of the census and how things are going and that kind of information. But he has been very ill for the last few days. And I didn't want to just cancel because we are right in full blossom of recruiting census takers in Grand Traverse County, and just been shifted to Wexford County, but I'm still finishing up in Grand Traverse County, and we are recruiting census takers, and the process is completely online, so that person has to apply online. So they don't need my help, but I'm more than happy to help them. I meet them at libraries. I've met them at just about every coffee shop in Traverse City last week, from Higher Grounds to Mundo's Coffee to Brew. And the week before that, I was at many of the craft brew pubs, and Right Brain and Rare Bird and Workshop, and all of them wanted to do their part for the community and for the census, to have a successful census. So this was one way that they could do it. I have reached out to some of the outlying areas, such as Fife Lake. I went to a wonderful fish fry over there and really recruited a lot of people, not only from Grand Traverse, but Kalkaska County. But I want to make sure that all the townships, anyone that wants to take advantage of the opportunity, has an understanding of it, has knowledge of it, has somebody they can contact regarding that. And the pay for Grand Traverse County is $24.50 an hour, which is very good pay. It's temporary work. And I love my school bus driving. I've been a school bus driver with TCAPS for 25 years. I'm not going to quit my bus driving job, but this has been wonderful to have the supplemental income and to also do this kind of work for the community. So it's flexible hours. People can work from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. every day. It's they would select 8 hours each day, 40 hours a week. So it's not like we're going to be able to get 80 hours in, although that would be great. So it's a lot of flexibility in it. Great for school bus drivers. That's why I'm doing it. And I didn't want any of the business owners to feel that they're going to lose their good permanent employee, because it is temporary work. It'll run through July. So if anyone is interested, I brought information, and I brought some sheets, which usually the community partnership specialist will bring along with him for everyone, and that is about how it is a community service. But we were having so much difficulty getting people at $14 an hour. We had to have more of an incentive. And so the census met in Chicago, which is a region. a region for us, and the other 4 states, Wisconsin, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, and they decided to up the pay. And when that happened, it was Emmett County, forget it. It was great. I was working in Emmett County, and we don't need to work in Emmett County anymore, but they're still applying. And this county, I would say we're a little bit less than needing 20, and we started out needing 700. So we've done very good, but we still need. So we're still, those applications are still needing to come in, and Wexford County, they are about 50% of what they need. So I decided to head down there. I'm going to the Blue Heron Cafe and some kind of a brew pub down there, and a township meeting, and tomorrow morning with the Chamber of Commerce. So I'll just keep on working it until we make sure that we have enough census takers for successful census in all of the community, everywhere we can reach. And if anybody has any questions, I could try to answer. Thank you, Lynette.
I just wondered, because I've been trying to tell people about it, and I know that with this census, they're trying to do more online. They're going to send postcards to people asking them to fill out their census online. So these jobs won't necessarily be going out to people's houses, correct?
No, there will be some cold knocks, meaning we will have people knocking on some of the doors because of the locale where we live. We do have a lot of snowbirds. So those people will not be responding right away on April 1st. All of us will receive a postcard mid-March to describe the census, and from what I've been reading online, it's a short form of 9 questions, and it is all going to be entered in a handheld computer or your home computer or the computers that the library directors have gotten grants for and set up a bank of computers for people to use. And it will all be entered online. You can see there will be issues because some people don't have Wi-Fi, some people don't have a computer, and we've always had the issue with some people may not read and write very well. We want to assist them because we want everyone counted in Blair Township, everyone counted in the county. So, and all, I think 17 townships. 16 or 17 townships in Grand Traverse County. So the census takers will do an amount of door knocking, but they will also be given a plan of where they're going to go to knock on the door and what the reason is. So it's not just a blind cold knock. It's okay, what's going on? The family didn't get back, or they got back with incorrect answers, or it was insufficient answers to the questions, or nobody responded at all. So you find out they don't have a computer and they don't care, and we're not going to do the census because we don't even have a computer, so who cares? But we do care, and you're part of our community, so we'd like, so then you can follow through with them. We can meet you at the library, or the census taker would say, we can meet you at the cafe right down the street here. They partnered with us and said that we could come on in, use the Wi-Fi anytime we want. So we have a handheld computer, and you can come in and meet me there, or if you're comfortable, I'll meet you at your home. So in order to get everybody into the system, we're going to need the census takers. And it's not just a paper and pencil, unless that's what that family or that person is comfortable with. Yes, we can always enter that data later. But, however we can make it work.
Could we set something up here at the township?
We would love it. The townships, we want them involved 100%.
I didn't hear you.
We would like to have you involved 100%. So we have Wi-Fi in here. We have, the census takers has a handheld computer that they are trained on. It also has GPS for safety for them, safety for the family of what, where are you, what's going on? Oh, I see you're over in that, over in Leelanau County. So By the way, Leelanau County is 100%. They don't need any more census takers, but they're still taking applications. But yes, the townships are coming on board because we may need to have people coming from, I may need people to come in from this outlying area, Carlin or someplace, come into the townships.
Right, because pretty much anything south of Norton Road.
Oh, it's Benzie?
No, that's still Blair Township, but
Oh.
there's no Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi.
cable, there's.
Yeah, we want them to come in here, we want them to be comfortable, we want them to feel welcome and invited, whether anyone is illiterate, whether anyone has a home computer or any fancy gadgets, never mind that. We want you to be counted. We welcome you to come into our township, into the hall. We'll help, however you are going to express it, I think would be wonderful. All of our townships and across Grand Traverse County and Benzie County is struggling very much for census takers. And the rate of pay for census takers here is a lot lower. So, and it's different all around. Yes, Benzie census takers will be earning $14 an hour.
But if they're struggling to get census takers to work, why don't they increase that? Why doesn't the Chicago group talk about
Because
that?
I need to write a letter to Chicago, because we need to really get something done about that, because Antrim is the same, and yes, we do not have enough census takers for Antrim, Benzie, but we don't have enough for Wexford, and Wexford is way down at 55% maybe, and they pay $24.50. So I don't know really if it does have to do with the amount of pay for that area, but they decided how much it's going to be, and so that's how it.
Must be based on population of the county.
It's something you township experts would know, because Sheboygan is also 14 an hour, or
They're
14 an hour.
smaller.
Emmett is right next to them, and it's $24.50. You know why a lot of those counties went green right away getting census takers, because people were picking up those jobs for that amount. But yeah, Wexford, it's a little bit of a struggle. I gotta get down there and see what I can cook up. But I hope that helps answer your question. Anybody else, any questions?
I have one more.
Sure.
And this may be more of a question for Dave, and I know he's been to our clerks' meetings. But when you're mentioning snowbirds, and we are sending out AV applications right now for the March election. So we have us clerks have a lot of the addresses of these snowbirds where they're at. How can we coordinate with you to get you those addresses to send the information so that they're filling out the census for Grand Traverse County and not where they're snowbirding?
Love that. Yes, I do love that. That's something Dave would definitely be able to answer better than I would, and he would be able to answer better about our students who are attending college out of town. Because you're, as the census goes, we're counted where we are.
Right.
So if the student is away for college for 2 years, they won't be counted here, but then they will live here for the next 8. So it just, it's the same thing with somebody having a brand new baby that is born after the census and will be 10 years old for the next one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyhow, if anybody would be interested in applying, you go online to the website, you create a portal with the census, because you create a little profile, the census will send you a link, and you go into the link and apply. And it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to apply and complete the application. And from there, they will contact you. In about a week, you get your fingerprints done. In a following week, you will have a background check done. So that's about 2 to 3 weeks there. And then you will be called and contacted, see if you're still interested in the position, and then you take an oath to honor everyone's personal identifying information. that you will hold that completely private.
And elected officials are exempt from being,
They are not, the elected officials cannot.
like I couldn't even go to Benzie County.
That's what I was
And how
wondering.
come?
Why couldn't we do it in a different county?
Well, I'll go to Wexford, they do more.
When would you? Yeah, then I've got to get in touch with my sister, who's the treasurer of her township up in Cross Village, because I have got to apply for the job. I'm thinking of quitting my position. And I said, what? You were elected, still do that. Because the job is pretty much done in July. But yeah, it is good. It's good pay for, temporary work. So, and even $14 an hour, because when I applied, it was $14 an hour, and I figured as a school bus driver making $16 and a quarter an hour, 14's not that bad, I'll take it. So, well, I hope I helped to answer some of the questions, and I hope you will spread the word around that we do need census takers in all of the 83 counties in Michigan, so, in all of them.
Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
And
Do you
good
have
luck
cards
for
that you got
successful
in?
census.
Do you have your card?
Yes, well, we have some information here for everyone to take, and if you'd like, I have an actual business card if you'd like, because I'm actually a union officer for the school bus drivers. So if you would like, yeah. And, if anybody's interested, I actually have the iPad here where you can create a profile. Well, I know that you, Township Board, you are not interested, but truly, we all know a nephew that could get up off the sofa. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks,
That was
Marty.
very good.
All right, consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected.
I would make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unfinished business. New business. EMS millage ballot language for the August 2020 election. Get to all these reports.
I know what.
Got it.
So I would like to make a motion.
Hold on.
Can we? Okay.
Yeah.
The language that was in the packet is from the last time.
Yes,
So we would need to change the dates.
yes.
And the dates would be, because this would be for 4 years, should read,
July 1.
beginning July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2024 inclusive.
Did you say on the August ballot?
Huh?
Yes.
Starting in July, the month of the election?
What?
You said July 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the election's in August?
Well, start, didn't he?
Can
Don't-
we do December? Because that's when we start collecting for them.
They've always gone by our fiscal year. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
why.
That makes sense.
And it has been,
So it'll just be retroactive.
well, we don't
No, we
collect
don't
till
collect
December.
until December.
Oh, okay.
But
Yes,
they've always gone by our fiscal years.
not a primary.
Hmm?
We're correct. The dates are correct.
Okay.
It would be July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2024. But we also need to change the amount being levied.
Well, actually, what it would
What the
raise.
levy would raise. Not our mills, that stay in the same 1.5. But this levy would raise in the first calendar year, and this is approximately, as you can see the language as always, and this is from the assessor, $467,399.76.
And I will include that, all this language in the minutes.
Everything else would be the same, except for the total amount and the date.
Yep. Yep. I would move to approve the language for the EMS millage to be placed on the August 4th, 2020 primary election.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to place the ambulance millage renewal on the ballot for the August primary with the dates changed. Did you say that?
I didn't say, I moved to approve putting it on the ballot. I approved the language.
Okay.
Well,
Any discussion?
putting the language on the ballot.
Putting the language on the ballot for the August 2020 primary election. Roll call.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Lunshine.
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Item B, general fund. I gotta buy my paper.
The last few years, when we have had a surplus, we have tried to set aside $300, or $300, that's gonna take us an awful long time. $300,000 per year to put into the new building fund, and we had a nice surplus this year. So, yeah, so I think we should move some of that money into the new building fund. So I would make a motion to direct the treasurer to move $300,000 from the general fund operating to the general, or do you want it from deposits? I don't- All right,
Cash. Yeah.
general fund cash to general fund new building fund,
MBIA.
MBIA.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to direct the treasurer to place $300,000 from the general cash fund into the general fund new building fund. Any further discussion?
I just have a question. What would that give us as a total for that fund?
It's over $1 million.
Oh, great. Impressive.
I think, I want to say with that, it'll be about 1.5 mil.
Very good.
Roll call.
Campbell.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Lunshine.
Yes.
I can tell you what it is.
EMS also had a surplus, and I talked with Eric And this is how he would like to split up his surplus funds. He wants some put into the EMS new building fund and some into the vehicle replacement, which I think is wise.
It'd be about 2 million. After the 300,000 is put in there.
I'd make a motion to approve moving, let's see, do we need it in two parts? The amount broken down? He would like to move 100,000 put into the EMS MBIA new building fund and $72,874 put into the EMS MBIA vehicle replacement fund.
Perfect.
Support. It's been moved and supported to place $100,000 into the EMS MBIA new building fund and $72,874 into the EMS MBIA vehicle replacement fund. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Fleischheim.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Item D, the fire department has received a grant from the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians. We need to amend the fire budget by increasing state grant revenue line item 205,000-539.00 by $5,000 and increasing the equipment expenditure line item 205-345-977 by $5,000. It's just putting money in place for, into a state grant revenue line item instead of donation.
Well, we gotta put it somewhere.
Right.
And this is for extrication equipment?
Correct.
I would move to amend the budget by increasing the state grant revenue line item by $5,000 and increasing the equipment expenditure line item by $5,000.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to amend the fire budget by increasing the state grant revenue line item by $5,000 and increasing the equipment expenditure line item by $5,000. Any discussion? Congratulations on the grant.
Yeah?
Yes.
Again?
Chief Parker wrote it.
Very good.
Again. Maybe in the next couple months, you guys can get us, I'd be curious, a grand total of grant money received in the last 3 years. Because I know you guys have been winning grants and
I'm guessing we're up around $230,000 the last 2.5 years.
Nice.
Excellent.
that's awesome. So if you guys could maybe
Great
put a
job.
report together so we can make that a big deal, because it is a big deal. Okay, roll call?
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Fleischheim.
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Item F, intergovernmental agreement between Paradise Township and Blair Township.
Oh, wait.
What about boom boom?
Oh, I
Just for
yeah.
boom boom.
The TC Boom Boom Club requesting $250.
I was done.
I would move to approve continued financial participation with the Traverse City Boom Boom Club in the amount of $250.
Did you support that, Coach? Yeah. It's been moved and supported to continue the financial participation with the Boom Boom Club, TC Boom Boom Club, for $250.
And not Tony Soprano. Boom,
Any
boom,
further
club, right?
discussion? Roll call?
please.
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes. I emailed them that. But does this work for you in order to,
No, I'd like an
if you
invoice.
want an invoice?
And he's always really good about
Yeah.
getting us one invoice.
Okay. Intergovernmental agreement between Paradise and Blair Township.
This is a management renewal of Paradise, the current one that ends April 1st, put into for a 3-year agreement with a 2-year evaluation. Explained to them that it's going to take a long process if they elect not to renew the contract in 2 years. We've increased the cost, and we've included the use of the chief's truck in the intergovernmental agreement.
But that's really the only thing that's changed.
Yes.
And this is probably just a typo, and very nitpicky, but under item 8F, it says follow Paradise accounts and receivable procedures. I'm thinking that should be accounts receivable procedures. Is that correct? Okay.
Very good. I would make a motion. You want to say? I'd make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Paradise Township and Blair Township.
Now discussion.
No, I was gonna,
Gotcha.
no, I was gonna make the motion, then Dennis made it, and I was gonna support. But, okay, I'll just sit here and look pretty.
It's been moved and supported to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Paradise Township and Blair Township.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Blanchine,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Item G, fire protection contract between Blair Township Fire Department and Mayfield Township.
This is basically a renewing of the previous contracts, except for this one will be increased by a little over $30,000 because this will have the millage money that we passed in 2018. So this incorporates that millage money.
I would move to approve the fire protection contract between Blair Township and Mayfield Township.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the fire protection contract between Blair Township Fire Department and Mayfield Township. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Blanchine,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Extended public input. And road commission.
I figured I'd better make a report from that meeting here. Andy Martin, Grand Traverse County Road Commission. Sorry I was a little late. I had a previous engagement. Funding. It's going to be very interesting for the Road Commission over the next couple of years with the actions coming out of Lansing. We're not really sure exactly what that means. We're taking over a couple of roads most likely this year, as you may or may not have read in the paper. Center Road, or M37, and M137 in Green Lake Township. M137 is pretty much a given because it's not a special road under some scenic thing that the peninsula has. So there's going to be some public hearings out in the peninsula on whether or not we should take that over. Some of the funding deals that were part of this includes funding from the MTF, and the governor is most likely going to attempt to change the MTF funding to pay for this $3.5 billion with a B dollar bond that she's doing for roads that are primarily south. There is a little bit in the UP. It looks like about 10 miles. And there's about 5 miles in Grand Traverse County, which should be somewhere in here, which by the way was already funded, but now they're bonding it. That $3.5 billion of bonds is really going to cost about $5.1 billion when you pay the interest on it. And the cost to do the project is probably going to increase, so we're not really going to get $5.1 billion worth of road work. We're probably going to get about $2 billion. So that's really good math. And it's going to hurt and affect, most likely, county road commissions, cities, villages that depend upon the MTF funding to get their money from the state. Because the bond repayment comes off the top of the money that's collected in this gas tax, the registration, all of that, and then the rest trickles down through the MTF fund. Yay! Not real fond of what the governor's doing. I understand her desire to make it look like something's going to be done. In my opinion, it's political posturing. It's not going to really affect or have any positive benefit for the majority of the residents of Michigan, and even those who are getting these road projects done. It's going to hurt them in the long run because they're going to get reduced funding for roads. We'll keep doing the best we can. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. The storms will stop being on the weekend, which does not seem to be the case. I'm really proud of our guys. I went down to Detroit for a Red Wings game Sunday, and I came back up in that storm. I-75 was absolutely awful. The farther north I got, the better the roads got, but the more snow we had. It was really weird. It's like we know how to take care of snow up here in northern Michigan. So I'm really proud of our guys. Wexford County did a great job. The rest of the state was a little less than desirable to be reckoned. Questions, concerns, comments? Or is this public comments? Like it's not. Unless you do. It's your word.
When was your last meeting?
3 weeks ago? 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago?
we've got one coming up. Have you heard any more talk on Stadium Drive?
I have not. This was the beginning of the year organizational meeting. Figure out everything, you know how those meetings are. Nothing really important happens. And set meeting dates and elect chair.
Okay. That's all I had.
Awesome.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
We're adjourned.
I just want to say that I will be leaving for a short vacation, and I won't be here for March 4th and March 13th, or the March board meeting.
A short vacation?
2 weeks.
You won't be here March 4th either, right?
No.
So we're going to decide everything then.
Yeah.
I'll FaceTime that day.
You're the 4th and the 13th also?
No, the 13th. I'm back to 7th.
So on the 3rd, you get volunteers.
So the 26th and the 4th.
26th and the 4th.
Okay.
Trying to make these work. But I forgot about the budgets.
Anything else? We're adjourned.